Hello and welcome to Deep Trouble City Under the Sea. This is the last mission in John Dee's series. It has 3 parts. Here's the backstory. Garrett has been collaborating with his old friend Julian Brenner about robbing the castle of a local count. Security is tight on the outside, but Brenner has an idea. A local contact of his at the local docks told him about a large shipment of fine wines and foodstuffs which were being shipped to his large, unguarded cellar from there later that night. The plan was for Garrett to sneak into the docks and hide in one of the larger crates in order to get a free ride into the Count's estate. Once inside, Garrett would clean the place out and make his escape, which would be made easier by the fact that the guards wouldn't be expecting a break-in from the inside. A couple hours later, after an unusually rough ride and overhearing what sounds like mech voices, perhaps wiring up some watchers for the Count, Garrett wonders, he makes a cautious exit from the crate, only to find he's not in the Count's basement. He's somewhere else. And if he doesn't find a way out, he may be in deep trouble. This isn't the rich guy's basement. Looks like Brenner's bright ideas have gotten you into a jam again. You won't be welcome here, so find a way out. Optional. The Count's treasures will have to wait for another day. Make tonight pay off. Snatch 1,000 in cash. Deep trouble. It was meant to be a simple job, Brenner said. Just hide in one of the crates and you'll get a free ticket into the Count's basement, he told me. So here I am, but after hearing those mech voices, why do I have the feeling I've made a wrong turn?
In Karis's name, what's going on? Are you engineers playing games again? I'm sending a member of maintenance down there right now to get the cooling system straightened out. We want our air conditioning back, and we want it now. And pray he doesn't find any evidence of pranks being played. We are not amused.
Engineers and their pranks. The whole subsystem's down. Now I have to wait till it resets. Who did this anyway?
What shadow passed my view? Rat. Not the holy rock. Surely that's...
Friend Boar, I know thou hast little experience with handling wild creatures, but I assure thee that these little burricks pose little threat to any of our friends. Due to their youth, this litter of young ones have not yet gained use of their gas glands, so they pose no danger. Make sure they have plenty to eat when it's time to feed them this evening. Brother Cavador wants them nice and fat when they're offloaded onto Markham's Isle. He says they make great stew. After his ordeal amongst the forest dwellers, I'm sure feeding on those forest vermin is sweet revenge indeed, Captain Holland. P.S. This doesn't mean it's okay to stick your fingers through the cage. Entry 16. Looks like our new supervisor is sick, again. Core duty seems to be rough on some people for some reason, but I enjoy it. When I was just a novice training at the academy, I could hardly imagine the new technologies I would be using as a member of the Order, and my family was aghast because I chose to be a mechanist instead of one of those old-fashioned hammers. They're proud of me now. I just hope that the Order will reveal more of our new wonders someday. How astonished everyone will be then. Time to get back to work. Now if I could just get rid of this accursed headache. These are berths, or bunks. They're actually they're actually very similar to bunks you'd see on a submarine. And as it turns out, that's exactly where we are. As we'll find out very shortly. It's a giant sub called the Swordfish.
Looks like I'll have to get aboard the Cetus Amicus to get out of this jam.
Our vessel is currently being escorted by the Cetus Amicus while en route to Markham's Isle. Before we arrive, the Amicus will turn back to the city to make a stop at the KD site. If thou hast any letters or messages to leave for any of your comrades stationed there, please bring them upstairs for the science officer to send to the Amicus via the transmat system before we are out of range. Attention all personnel. There are currently openings for experienced technicians in the new automated factory on the island of Iron. All applicants for transfer must possess over 6 months of practical experience with our new electronic devices, as well as certification in combat droid maintenance. All interested applicants may submit their transfer request to the captain for evaluation and transfer and referral to friend Lynn. Friend Tito, it has come to my attention that there is a persistent rumor that the fire crystal fusion engine that powers this vessel generates a secondary radiation which is injected into the energy crystal matrix for direct conversion to electrical power that is harmful to living organisms. As Brother Cavador himself and the chief engineers have repeatedly said, this story has no basis in fact. The headaches, vomiting, and blackouts that some of the engineering staff have suffered here and the new power core at the Steel Fortress are merely due to their fleshy weakness. If we hadn't been having so many plagues coming through the city, as has been happening in recent times, none of these things would have occurred. Please do your part and squash the rumors as soon as you hear them. Our technology is foolproof and we don't need any unnecessary squeaking from loose cogs. Captain Hollard. Another day in the belly of the beast, as we like to say down here. Our bunks aren't as comfortable as those upstairs, but I praise Karis. I continue to sleep down here and maintain the vessel subsystems. At lunch break, friend Roggins has been telling us many a hair-raising yarn about our Order's battle on the island of Iron. It has been a year since the disaster that claimed the lives of friend Arbez and many brave fighters and children of the 6th Mech Army, despite the heroic efforts of friend Trajan. Why did he defect anyway? To overcome the zombie hordes in order to save the castle and the sorely pressed outposts. To add insult to injury, the very next day an invasion force of Hammerites, mercenaries, and a large contingent of city army stormed the northwestern shores of the island the very next day. With the losses we had suffered, we could barely hang on to the southern half of the island, despite the fact that we had destroyed most of the remaining undead in those terrible battles. In the night which cost so many lives, the Hammers took full advantage of the carnage on all fronts, and after a brief but violent struggle in and around the castle, they stormed those halls, now hallowed by the blood of our martyrs, and once again claimed it as their own. What shocked us was the fact that somehow Valance, the Hammer High Priest had been able to patch up differences between the Order of the Hammer and the Baron, which had grown since Valens declared the Hammerites wouldn't support the Baron's unjust campaigns against his neighbors anymore. It's not hard to guess that the mineral resources of the island provided some temptation, as well as the previous collaboration which helped to clear out the Old Quarter. Undoubtedly, the Baron bargained to get the lion's share of the riches for himself, but the fact remains that the Hammerites have gained back one of their sacred sites with little loss to themselves. Damn those outdated vultures. This will surely boost their confidence and cause them to look at us with even greater arrogance. Valens already has begun to rev up his angry rhetoric in his sermons. That clever weed has arranged to have their mercenaries and city army troops guarding the new wall they've constructed across the narrow bottleneck of the Isle in order to seal off the northernmost third of the island to enhance security, while the Hammers themselves have moved heaven and earth to rebuild their old sanctuary into a mighty new fortress. Even if we had the manpower and extra equipment to make a lightning assault, we couldn't get through the wall without clashing with the city's troops and ending up in a war with the Baron himself. For the Order's sake, I pray that Cavador and the Council come to a new understanding with the city's leadership. Our hoary forebears are reinventing themselves despite the fact that their best new tools are but vastly inferior copies of our third-grade equipment, and their numbers are growing.
Who's there? What noise dost make?
Fire crystal fusion core area. Exercise caution.
Dragonfly flits about. Cease thy.
Hello?
Soft. 'Twas a
Reveal
noise
thyself.
I heard.
Ah, crap. Oh well.
I shall find thee.
Game you play.
Thou canst not.
This is supposed to be the battery room for the submarine.
What's that there? 'Twas a memory of leaves flapping, nothing more.
only take a few things. Though given that we're on a submarine, there's not much use for them. Anyway. Sick bay. Just get a health potion and... Friend Valiaka is sick again. The second time this month. After thorough examination, I've concluded she's suffering from long-term exposure. From the high energy and emanations from the heart of the power core, her internal organs have suffered severe damage. And despite the usual round of health potions and new drugs, she's still suffering considerably. I've informed Captain Hollard that I will be taking her off engineering duty on this vessel indefinitely, which means permanently, as long as I am stationed on this vessel. With rest and continued treatment, she should recover in time. But remaining as part of the core maintenance team will mean certain death to her if her cellular structure continues to disintegrate under the battering of the high-energy radiation that shines constantly in the main engineering room. As I am stating in my report that I am sending to Brother Cavador and the Mechanist Council, the chief physicians are wrong. Our technology is useless if no one is alive to use it. We need more protective shielding in the core area, or the development of the new children, and which can work in those areas so that our friends can operate from a safe distance. If Hollard protests, he can come down and see for himself what power core work is doing to our friends. I haven't seen anything like this since I witnessed pagans dying in the new camp. At least in their case, we're intentionally working and driving them to their deaths. Perhaps we could take some of the pagan children we captured in the woods and teach the little roaches to do core maintenance and let them die slowly instead of our valuable friends. It's probably obvious by now,
Is there someone there?
but a lot of assets in this mission are taken from System Shock 2. Maybe it's an implicate. Maybe it's trying to imply that the two share the same universe somehow. And that's the power core.
What noise then that softly calls?
If someone is there, show myself.
It's nice, alright? Oh, it's quiet now. It's that shadow. It was a boiler. Did it need to be serviced? Builder!
Is that thee? Wait. Show thyself. Whoever thou be, I shall find thee. Is someone there? Who art thou? Seem to trouble my mind.
This looks like the captain's quarters. Maybe his log will have more information on how I got in this mess.
And this is the tail, aft, after stern, end of the swordfish. In Tree 94, now that the fighting has finally ended on the island, we have gone back to our routine patrols. I'm glad for it. I always had great fear when we were hauling wounded, considering where our brave soldiers received their wounds. Zombification was always a threat. Thanks to Karis, nothing happened here, but the horror story Roggins told me about the Med Center incident on the island of Iron only confirmed the wisdom of stationing guards in the main bays whenever we carried wounded back to Markham's Isle or the central subaquatic facility. Looking forward to the R&R I'm due. Entry 110. In Karis' name, what wonders Cavador has wrought for us. In my old quarters, they have constructed a device which can instantaneously transport a friend to another location. Cavador calls it his Transmat device, and he's quite proud of it. Another unit has been installed on the Cetus Amicus, but it has only been set to receive. We're going to begin tests soon, starting with animals. Entry 114. Tests with the Transmat system have exceeded expectations. On my earlier visit to Markham's Isle, I spoke to Cavador and said, "Not since I've seen Arbez work with mech soldiers have I seen such advancements." The expression on Cavador's face was filled with anger, and he told me not to mention friend Arbez's name again. I was startled by his reaction, since Arbez is considered to be a martyr for the faith by the lower ranks. I asked Cavador why he was so angry, and he merely brushed aside the subject and began talking about properly securing the transporter aboard the Swordfish and other developments. Later on, one of the Mechanist Council members took me aside and requested that I not speak about friend Arbez again. Apparently, there is some kind of investigation into his conduct on the island operations before his death. I'm sure it won't turn up a thing on that great man, but I will comply and be silent. Entry 115. The first human test is a success. Friend Denton, our brave volunteer, was transported onto the Cetus Amicus today. When we saw the coded signal flash from the Amicus, we were overawed with joy. We'll soon head back to Markham's Isle and pass the news on to Cavador. A glorious day for the Order of the Gear indeed. To keep any unauthorized friends out of the teleport chamber, I have set a secure lock on it, and set the code to 1975. Entry 116. Cavador is well pleased with the test results, and has placed new equipment in the Swordfish. We have been given a new assignment. We're heading to the Fortress of Steel to pick up a number of servant soldiers who were originally converted to new form by friend Arbez, the few that are still left after all the struggles with the undead. Cavador said he needs to make a careful examination for some research project. He has also insisted on having them all locked in the new stasis generators. That's strange. Well, at least we won't have to listen to all that metallic chatter. Sometimes their voices almost sound like cries, vocal distortion from the implanted technology, I'm sure. On the way back, we're to swing by the city and make a special pickup. Apparently, Cavador has had some friends make arrangements at one of the local docks to procure various crates of wine and food and other fine goods. I'm a little nervous about the security aspect of it. By now, the existence of the Cetus Amicus is common knowledge in the city after the special showing at the recent naval parade. However, the existence of the swordfish and our aquatic facilities still remain a closely guarded secret. To prevent discovery, I have signaled to make the pickup at night. We will surface just offshore, and our friends will row it out to us. Hopefully all will go without incident. Now, I wish people would just stop complaining about feeling sick in the power core area. Entry 117. The pickup went without incident, with one exception. Burrix. Cavador has procured a number of young ones in cages for us to carry. He didn't mention that to me. I guess those stories of how much he hates and fears them is true. It must give him great satisfaction to turn those critters into a hearty meal. I had them placed downstairs in cells along with some of the extra freight in the lower holds. We'll inventory everything later. Friend Valiaga is ill again. The chief physician says it's some kind of radiation from the power core. Rubbish. Cavador has already told everyone it's safe. Why doesn't anyone listen to him? We'll get everything straightened out when we get back to Markham's Isle. As usual, the Cetus Amicus will escort us, if they can keep up, and head back to the KD site afterwards.
Well, what do you know? It looks like the mechanists snatched the Count's shipment for themselves, and me along with it.
Just make a note here. Teleporter 1975. Out there is the Cetus Amicus escorting the swordfish. Deactivated combat bots.
Wither and rot, Reed!
Well, that's weird. That's weird. It looks like she like clipped through the door. But well, as long as no one else. Here are the servants in stasis. This is the Transmat teleporter, but I'm not going there right now because we need more loot. Warning, experimental Transmat system. Do not operate without previous authorization from the captain and science staff. This presumably leads up to the sail and conning tower. Since we're underwater, obviously we can't go there. We're in the command center, the control room of the submarine. But there's no loot to be found here. But I'll try and show it off a little.
It's that shadow.
The command center appears to be heavily modeled after the Rickenbacker's bridge from System Shock 2.
Yesterday I built my home.
Good cog is...
We'll just leave them alone. We don't want this ship to crash. got the loot goal. Need to look around a little bit more. Have to try one of the lower levels.
What's that there?
That's the loot goal, but I still want to look around some more. This is presumably either screw or the system driving the screw or the propeller of the ship. I don't think anything of interest is down there, but I'll check anyway. It's probably just to keep curious players from getting trapped. In-game, it's probably just a maintenance ladder. On second thought, this physician's comment about using children into work the core pissed me off, so I'm gonna knock him out after all.
Too much of the windows. Aches in my joints.
Is that thou, friend?
Flits about.
And here's the torpedo room. While the Cetus Amicus was an experimental vessel, this is clearly a ship of war.
What? Hello?
This isn't good. Looks like their technology's improving.
Yeah, the mechanists are more advanced than ever. And Karis said, "Let those who understand come. Let those who refuse the higher knowledge perish in their own ignorance. For those who still cling to the icons of old, and spurn the perfection and advancement of the glorious gear and the wisdom of Karis, are an offense to the Builder himself. The ignorant cry righteousness before progress, for the truly enlightened friend understands that progress and advancement must come first, before the old ideas. Does the Builder not reward those who take action rather than those who pray and speak of morality? Advancement at any cost, progress at any price is the true morality, and true righteousness for the wise follower of the Builder. For to question progress is to hold humanity back in the darkness of ignorance. To impede new technology for any reason is to obstruct the work of the Builder himself. The new scripture of the Master Builder, Volume 4, Mechanist Council Authorized Edition.
Thou art new to the movement, friend.
'Tis the truth. Time past, I served the hammer, but my heart could no longer bear to see such hard times befall them, and such little spirit to carry on left. And 'tis clear to see that it profits little to be a hammer in these times.
Aye, many hath come in such a wise. 'Tis not a hard task to see that we are the future.
Thou wert not with the Order of the Hammer before?
Nay, those brothers were always too stern and righteous for my choice, and they turned their faces away from our Lord Karis when he spoke of progress. When I heard of the great works he had made since he left them, I came.
As a hammer, I was oft forced to withstand the silent scorn of the masses. but the garb of a mechanist carries much prestige with it.
Okay, I think I've seen most of what there is to see. I'll just check a few other places. The ship's part of the ship's computer system. I'm clearly taken from System Shock 2. Again. And this is a Thief fan mission love story to System Shock 2. Now, I believe, yes, since we've got everything, let's exit by the teleporter. Or wait, did I miss something? No. This just goes back to the central staircase. That's the core. Great, I've gone in a circle. That's embarrassing. Yeah, I'm back to where I started. That's unfortunate. Oh well, there's only so many places you can go on a submarine. This is it. This is the command center. Ah, here we go. Use the captain's code 1975. System's operating. Let's go through. Now, I believe there's one guard patrolling this level of the Cetus Amicus. This was originally the dining room of the Cetus Amica, as it's been converted into a teleport chamber. But because the Cetus Amicus uses older technology, it can only receive if teleportees.
Who's there? What noise dost make?
Entry 46. Looks like escort duty for the Swordfish again. The speed of that sub is unbelievable. By the time we reach Markham's Isle, we'll have to surface to allow our steam engine to recharge our entire electrical system. After my tour of duty with the Amicus is complete, I may transfer to the Swordfish myself. They always seem to have openings in the power core department.
Slaughter it. If there be a heretic, suffer him to live no longer. My eardrums.
Another cramped hold.
We're in good old cargo hold 5 again. And that's it. In the next mission, Deep Trouble Part 2, we'll see where the Amicus takes us. See you then.